Over a century ago, Indian philosopher and monk Swami Vivekananda traveled to the United States to give public lectures on karma and other disciplines in New York. His teachings attracted numerous followers, including psychologist William James, inventor Nikola Tesla, just to name a few. In 1896, the lectures were transcribed into the book Karma Yoga, the Yoga of Action. During the lectures, Vivekananda introduces the idea of being instead of doing, and that the cause of all suffering is the false belief that pleasure or happiness is the goal of life. He explains that what shapes the human character is both pleasure and pain. If you take the character of anyone, it really is but the aggregate of tendencies, the sum total of the bent of the mind. You'll find that misery and happiness are equal factors in the formation of that character. While it may seem counterintuitive, both good and bad experiences are equally important in life. Sometimes misery can even be a better teacher than happiness. But basically, both types of experiences bring forward some type of knowledge. This is relevant because, as Vivekananda explains, the goal of our existence is to grow and gain knowledge. He says, no knowledge comes from outside, it is all inside. What we say someone knows should in strict psychological language be what he discovers or unveils. What we learn is what we discover by taking the cover off the soul, which is a mine of infinite knowledge. Vivekananda's book also discusses the meaning of work and overworking in a chapter titled The Secret of Work. In it, he explains how part of our existential confusion about work is connected to chronic judgment, including self-judgment about good and bad. Good and bad are both bondages of the soul. If we do not attach ourselves to the work we do, it will not have any binding effect on our soul. This is the one central idea in the Gita. Work incessantly, but be not attached to it. The book also discusses the concept of attachment and compares the mind to a lake. Every ripple, every wave that rises in the mind, when it subsides, does not die out entirely, but leaves a mark and a future possibility of that wave coming out again. The mark and the possibility of thoughts reappearing are called samskara. Every thought and action we take leaves specific impressions on our mind. While these may not be as obvious on the conscious level, thoughts and impressions tend to accumulate in the unconscious mind, and eventually they influence our behavior and tendencies. And so, what shapes our present moment is the sum total of our past impressions, which also shape our character. Depending on how good or bad these impressions have been, our character also becomes good or bad. In other words, if we continuously consume negative information, thoughts, and experiences, the mind will be filled with bad impressions that influence similar thoughts and actions in the present. On the other hand, consuming good or constructive information or constructive thoughts will inspire good actions. To avoid accumulating bad tendencies, Vivekananda advises to counteract bad impressions with fresh waves of good ones. This is to filter out each corner of the mind. The goal is to train the mind so that even when bad actions or thoughts arise, they don't make a deep impression on the soul. That's how anything attached becomes unattached. In the book, Vivekananda says, be unattached, let things work, let brain centers work incessantly, but let no ripple conquer the mind. Work as you were a stranger in this land, a sojourner. Work incessantly, but do not bind yourself. Bondage is terrible. This world is not our habitation. It is only one of the many stages through which we are passing.